Hello everyone and welcome to another Stats Perform tactical preview video. This week we're crossing to one of the world's great football cities, Milan in the north of Italy. The two teams there, two of the most famous clubs in world football, AC Milan and Inter, they meet in the big derby this weekend. They've got a combined 99 points so far this season, which is 16 more than they did at the same stage last season. Finally, both teams look capable of winning the league, and so a big game normally is even bigger. So here to help me look at it are Andy Cooper and Matt Furniss. Andy, you're going to start looking at Milan, so over to you.
Thanks, Dunk. Well, Milan haven't won the title for 10 years, and having gone into 2021 in a rich vein of form, they've been unbeaten in the league since the resumption of football post-lockdown. They've lost 3 of their last 8, including a shock defeat last weekend to Spezia. It's well documented that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is proven to be Benjamin Button. He's proven to be a talisman despite not playing in 8 matches during December. And he's contributed nearly a third of Milan's non-penalty output this season, which is 11 goals out of a total of 34. However, we're not going to talk about Zlatan too much in this preview, and I want to focus on a couple of other areas which may not be immediately obvious where Milan have really proved to be excelling at this season. And the first one being set pieces, and the second one being their threat coming from the left-sided side of the pitch. So just to sort of set the scene a little bit, Inter are the top scorers in Serie A, but AC Milan have the best expected goals per 90 output of 2.1. But nearly 25% of this total XG is coming from penalty kicks. They've been awarded 14 penalties in 22 matches this season, which is more than any other team in the big 5 European leagues. They've actually missed 4 of these penalties, 3 courtesy of misses from Zlatan himself. But they've scored 10 goals, and that's more than any other team in the same competitions. Now, this is quite significant because if we actually remove penalties from the equation, they actually rank 6th for non-penalty expected goals in Serie A. So it's 1.6, which is maybe a true reflection on what their abilities are in terms of generating high quality goal scoring opportunities. However, it's worth noting that they are creating high quality chances from set piece situations. As shown by this table, they are generating chances worth 0.56 XG per 90 from set pieces during the campaign, which is the highest XG output from set pieces of any team across the big 5 competitions in Europe. They're resulting in 0.4 set piece goals per game. So they're not quite matching their XG output in terms of the quality of chances they're creating. But still, nevertheless, only Torino and Benevento have a better record of scoring goals from set pieces in Serie A this season. So in total, Milan have scored 9 set piece goals this season. But interestingly, all of these set piece goals have come from deliveries into the box. They come from corner kicks or indirect free kicks. And if we look at this map at the moment, from where all of these opportunities have occurred, we can see that there's a real emphasis on trying to get the ball into the 6-yard box. And as we can see by the large circles on the pitch display, these are their high probability chances according to XG. And they really are having a lot of success by getting this ball whipped into areas within this 6-yard area. And it's reaping rewards. In terms of their set piece threats, Ante Rebic has scored the most set piece goals with 3, and Theo Hernandez has scored 2. But what is probably interesting, we think about Zlatan's all-round play. Obviously, with his 6'5" frame, he's the one responsible for generating the highest XG in the squad. He's generated 2.5 XG from set piece situations this season. However, he's only scored once, but maybe, or perhaps ominously for Inter, that one goal came in the earlier Milan derby back in October. And in that game against Inter, Milan generated half of their goal attempts from set pieces, which were worth 0.5 XG. So looking ahead to this weekend, they're going to be very wary of their threat from set pieces.
Cheers, Andy. 14 penalties already is massive. I mean, that equals the Premier League record for a whole season, which was Man United last season. So yeah, I mean, I know that these days you can get a penalty pretty much for anything, but that is something to look out for in this game. To look at Inter, a team who, even if you don't watch much Italian football, you'll still recognise quite a lot of the names. Matt, you've got some stuff on them.
Yeah, and I think I'll cause some controversy from the start and say that I don't think that Milan are as good a football side as Inter. I think Inter are the better footballing side. And I don't think some Milan fans will even argue with that. One of the major success stories of their season so far has been the form of Romelu Lukaku up top. He scored 16 goals this season, so he's joint top goal scorer in Serie A with Cristiano Ronaldo. 12 of those have come from non-penalties. So he has the highest XG figure, both overall from shots this season in Serie A at 14.8, and he has the highest excluding penalties as well, 11.6. The interesting thing here is the quality of chances he's getting per game. So on average this season, his XG per 90 ratio is 0.66. So you're looking at a player who is getting chances that would be the equivalent to scoring 7 goals in every 10 games, probably, which is a really good ratio for a forward player. But those chances over the game are really high quality chances. So on average, his shots this season have had an XG quality of 0.22. And looking at the graph on screen now, you'll see that this is really like an outlier season. He's having a phenomenal season in that he's getting high XG quality chances and accumulating a lot of good chances over a game as well. So since his first season on loan at Everton in 2013-14, we've got all the data plotted on this graph, and you can see that 2020-21, this season, he's been a fantastic striker for Inter and really been a great outlet for them. In fact, he scored in all 4 of the Milan derbies he's played in as an Inter player, 3 of those in the league. If he scores this weekend, he'll be the first player since Benito Lorenzi in between 1948 and 1950 to score in 4 successive Milan derbies for Inter. So something to aim for Lukaku this weekend. Another big reason that Lukaku's been so strong this season is that, like AC Milan, Inter are very strong out wide. They've attempted the most shots from crosses this season in 80, and only Roma have scored more goals from crosses than Inter. They've scored 9 from crosses. Added to this, Inter have had the most headed shots and had the most headed goals as well. So that's going to be something that Milan are going to have to watch out for this weekend. And Inter have really displayed quite a lot of strength in the second half of games this season. They would be 7th in the Serie A table if games ended at half time, and they'd be 14 points behind AC Milan. The first half performances this season have left much to be desired, really. But second half, they've come out the traps as a brilliant side and really put the foot down. So they've scored 36 second half goals this season, which is double the tally in the first half of 18. So it's also important to note that opponents Milan have conceded more than double the number of goals. They've conceded 17 in the second half that they have in the first half. So even if Milan are winning at half time in this one, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Inter come from behind. They've already won 14 points from losing positions this season, which is more than any other team. So it could be one of those games where Milan might get on top early on, but Inter will come into it and go ahead in the second half. So Inter, quite a big part of Inter's play is to play out the back, and they quite often deploy a 5-man defence or a 3-man defence. When it's the 3-man defence, the 3 centre-halves will often be Bastoni, De Vrij and Skriniar, and they often carry the ball out of the back. So they're very adept at being able to progress the ball upfield and then make a pass to midfield players. And you'll see that in the graph being displayed now, that they are the standout 3 really for centre-halves in Serie A this season at doing that. So far this season, the 3 centre-backs that I've mentioned have won possession back from the opposition 19 times. That's initiated a sequence that Inter have finished with a shot. So that means they've initiated a sequence of 29% of Inter's shots. So it's a very important tactic for them, for those 3 to win the ball back, progress upfield, and then Inter will end up having a shot from those sequences.
Cheers, Matt. We've got a predictor, haven't we? And I think Inter are slight favourites at the moment, but presumably if they win this game, it'll put them into a really strong position.
Yeah, so our AI team have predicted the results for the rest of the season. And we have Inter as 55.5% chance of winning Serie A this season, ahead of Juventus at 19% and Milan at 16.1%. So an Inter win in this match really would see them in pole position to secure Serie A title. However, if Milan win, it really could increase their chances and give them a first title for 10 years. So it's a really important game for both sides in different ways. And I know Milan aren't too far behind Inter in the table at the moment. I believe it's a point. But if Inter can stretch up to 4 points, and judging on their history and their quality around the side, do you expect them to press on, go on to win the title if they win this derby on Sunday?
You do, although I was at the Lazio Inter game in 2002 at the Stadio Olimpico, where Inter just had to cross the finish line to win their first title in a long time, and managed to lose and upset both sets of fans at the same time. Lazio, obviously allied with Inter, were very keen on Inter winning the league and not Juve or Roma. So Serie A is a brilliant league, as we all know, and this is one of the standout games every season, and this time it really is one of the biggest ones in living memory. So don't forget to tune in, and we'll be back soon for another tactical preview. So see you then.